Today we're going to talk about 100 T-Thieves and their loss to Sentinels. Now, of course, we will talk about Sentinels a little bit, but it was 2-1. Pearl was 13-5. 100 Thieves then came back and won on Haven, and then, of course, lost 13-1 on Split. And the interesting thing is, normally you'd think, oh, TMV's going to do the video about the 13-1, but no. We're actually going to talk about Pearl instead, because I think that this map actually gives you a better representation of some of the things that were going wrong for 100 Thieves. So let's talk about it. And the first thing that I really want to get across in this video is that for so many of the rounds, especially across the first two maps, but even some in the final map as well, 100 Thieves kept getting themselves into good positions and then still somehow losing it. And that's what you're going to see across these rounds. And it starts in the very first round, right? This first pistol round, 100 Thieves, whether this is through an anti-strat or whether, I don't know, right? Whether this is just a guess or an anti-strat or whatever, they put themselves in a perfect position where they got a 4-stack, they're going to run a trap play here on B, and 3 Sentinels players are going to, you know, essentially be there for them to trap.
Lucian has been a killjoy and a KO to the KO and the Vise, and now a double duelist, but still keeping that Vise in there for 100 Thieves. They look over towards the B side here with a bit of a default look towards the right, but great pressure as they push forward. John Cutie starts us off with first blood. Util cycling back and forth. Doesn't look like 100 Thieves wants to give up the space too much. They will continue to push back Sentinels to figure out.
Okay, so the round actually goes on for much longer than this, and eventually 100 Thieves lose, but I really just want to focus on this initial part of it, right? Because this, I think, is a good showcase of 100 Thieves. Like, this is a well thought out pistol round, right? Like, they're gonna start here. This TP is gonna end up all the way back over here. So, you know, if they came here, you know, we've got a solution to that as well. We've got, you know, an interesting wall here, you know, but we're completely giving up mid. Like, it has thought behind it, right? And as I say, they end up in a good spot here, right? But to me, and you will see this throughout this video, this looks like Asuna maybe hits the trigger on this a little too early. And there are a couple clues to that, right? So again, we're set up in a decent position here, right? Like, EU is taking contact, you know, kind of pretending like he's here alone, maybe, you know, just trying to get some info. Whereas really we've got, you know, a big stack of players, right? All here. But as this plays forward, right, EU eventually is just going to see, I think it's Zekken there, you know, just kind of quickly jiggle at the top of the ramp, right? And they've done this little recall star, and they might have heard some footsteps, you know, from the guy who went across towards the screen there as well. But now Asuna just rips it. Right, and Asuna rips it, and Cryo's gonna rip it. These two seem a little bit more like not ready for Xander and EU. They seem a little maybe taken off guard. Where Cryo flashes as well, like if you just take a look, so there goes Asuna's stun, right? Cryo's flash is coming out here, right? Which to me is more of a flash, you know, not for people who are gonna be still all the way back here, right? Like, that's more of a flash for you're hoping that they've actually come kind of past this corner. And that's really where you would think to run this trap play, right? But instead, it just feels like maybe they're a little bit early. And you'll see what I mean, right? Because even though the util from Asuna and Cryo, you know, does hit some people and gets them into trouble, it doesn't hit people who are a bit further back, right? And so we end up with Asuna dying there. And you take a look at where everyone else is here for 100 Thieves. Like, they aren't really that close, right? Like, Asuna is way out ahead and dies. And so, and also whilst all this is going on, and then, you know, we play it out and we end up, you know, not finding any more kills, like, the other part that I find a bit strange is, like, and what makes me believe maybe that, you know, maybe they did just do it a bit early is, like, EU's used no util as a part of that, right? Which feels a little strange. And Xander still has 2 stars, which, you know, I mean, really, you could think of him doing anything, right? Whether it's an Astra Suck, whether it's a stun, whether it's just a smoke, like, all of those are good options for this as well. Or even a recall star, like, anything, any star anywhere in here is also a good option that doesn't get put down. And we end up, you know, with Asuna dying, and eventually, you know, they are able to kind of, you know, trade one back, and, you know, we do then start using some of the util again. But, you know, it felt a little bit, you know, kind of nervous energy, maybe a bit too quick. And that's not like an extreme example of it, right? You might say, oh, they just did it a little bit too quick. But as we go forward in this video, you will see it started to become a pretty big problem. Because if we skip on ahead to round number 5, what happens in this round is something that you pretty much, I don't think I've ever seen something like this happen before, but it ends up going great again for 100 Thieves, a great start.
Some ults coming online soon, Vans.
Big ones. big ones for sure. We start towards Art, already spotting 2, but nobody to help out on that. But that's going to help here. Sentinels start pushing forward. And even the wall from behind. Also trying to close the gap, but he's alone.
Oh, he does hit Zelsis before he gets behind the smoke. Second joins the team, has to get out dimensional drift. Narrate will watch the flank here, but it's actually a ruse. Asuna is already...
Oh, this is an insane read and decision here by Asuna, right? Because, again, you take a look at 100 Thieves, and maybe, again, this is an anti-strat, I don't know, of where, hey, I mean, this is a pretty common idea for a lot of teams to, you know, Yoru will down one way of A and kind of send the rest of the team down the other. That's a pretty fairly common idea on most maps. You get a Yoru. But just the way that they react to it and deal with it, right? Again, we've got a 4-stack on A. I mean, look how confident they are they're going A, right? We've got both the wall here and 4 players here, right? Like, we've got the absolute read. You know, Zekan almost dies there to them shooting him, to be honest. But then, I mean, Asuna just doing this, right? And instantly deciding, well, the Yoru is alone. I know that, so I'm just going to sprint up straight behind them. I mean, look at this. Have you ever seen a map like this? We are 10 seconds into the round, and look where Asuna is, right? And he ends up getting a kill. And he actually does a really good job here, you know, unlike we're going to see in some of these rounds where, you know, he overheats. He doesn't overheat, right? He does exactly what he should do, which is then just retreat, get out of there, send then their whole... They've used a Yoru ult and a Teo ult and got nothing from it, right? They've lost a player. Asuna has done a great job, gets himself back into a really good position here, and we're in a great spot, right? The map right now, we've got 3 players on A. We got this guy making sure they can't come here. You know, Boostio checking that they can't come into mid. Like, we're in a really good position. Eventually, Asuna sees them, has to back up, and then for whatever reason, Boostio decides that this isn't a good enough position. Even though, think about where Asuna is, right? Like, if they came this way, Asuna would see them again. So he is still in a perfectly fine position. Still got 3 people on A. We're still in a great spot. And Boostio, for whatever reason, decides to do this. Now, I don't know why. Why are you challenging this? Why? You're in a 5v4. You've got them trapped, locked in. And then you get to this position, show yourself. And then, you know, slowly walk out and die. You had them, like... All you had to... Why? It just makes absolutely no sense. Like, again, this is what I'm talking about with this nervous energy of, like, they were just trying to... Everyone was, like, you know, at some point would just be like, I'm going to win the round here for us, guys. But you're already in a 5v4 in an amazing position, right? So you're already in a great spot. Then, I mean, they're still in a great spot, though, right? Like, there's only 36 seconds left. There's 3 people here on the site. And what you're about to see, though, is basically one of the best fatal values you're going to see, and some nice swing by Sentinels.
There's 100 Thieves to get that spike down.
Should be a lot easier, though, as we mentioned, this Nightfall available. That should hit all 3 of them if they don't fall back. And it should be an easy take. But a grab well and a spam through, and it's a 1-for-1.
Yeah. Great utility usage. 1 for Asuna. Dashes it into the smoke, tries to get that spam, see where they might be. Oh, wait, goes in the ultimate. They're going to peek it, they're going to swing it together.
Let's take a look at another example where, I mean, this one is even better. We're in round 9 now, right? It's 5-3. The game is still, you know, close, up for grabs. This is a sickener if you're a 100 Thieves fan this round, because, again, they're going to end up here with Sen, you know, trying to come in towards A main, you know, thinking about going for this kind of A exec. But again, we've got 4 players over here, right? We're in a great spot, 100 Thieves. Again, 4 players and the wall ready to stop this. Sen eventually decide that they don't like it. They just tug Zelsis in here and they're going to go for an A split instead. But, you know, 100 Thieves are just in a good spot. And, you know, they know what they're doing. If we skip on the round forward a bit, you see that Sen eventually decide to come towards mid here and start going for that at about the minute mark. And they're going to come for this A split, right? But again, 100 Thieves are going to get the read. They're going to end up in a great spot. They avoid the Vice ult. We're going to have 4 players in here. The wall is going to go off. Sen get trapped behind the wall. So now, by the time that Sen are actually coming in for their exec, their Vice ult is gone. 4 players are here. We're in a great spot again. And it starts off going for us really, really well.
Stopped by a wall again.
All right, that got a little awkward, but they should be all right on this way out. Double initiator, right? They should have the util to make this happen. Oh my god, the meat grinder!
And so there we go, round over, right? 3 kills, 5v2, round over. As I said, 100 Thieves getting themselves into a great position. You know, great start. Okay, we end up in a 4v2 there with Narrate getting that kill, but he's on 1-8, literally 1 HP. What could go wrong? Well, there's 26 seconds left, right? So time's low as well. There's really no way you can win this. There's maybe only one thing that could go wrong here, which is that you open up the entire B site for them. I guess because you thought that they were saving and then you just lose track of Zelsis and think that he must be probably sprinting across the other side of the map as well, and you see that that doesn't go great, and now you're on the wrong side of the map and it's a 2v2. Like, again, you see what I mean, right? Like, this is... You're having to, like, concoct very specific ways to actually lose the round. And Zelsis plays this great, by the way. He hears Asuna running. He knows that he's heard him running, so he just stops, waits, and then, you know, they get the fatal, and now they're both low. And from this position, you know what's going to happen.
They don't know what's into the operator coming out, though.
Beautiful sees two.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's skip ahead to the very next round. And 100 Thieves are going for their pistol round idea, okay? They're on kind of a weird half-buy here where they've got some rifles, some pistols, right? So they're going back to their pistol round idea, and once more, Sentinels are going to run into them.
Team had to adapt. That is a big check mark there for Sentinels.
Back to the pistol round.
Oh my gosh,
This time with weapons.
They read it completely, but they're going to read the speed back onto him. Relay Bolt gets a few stuns there, but they're still trying to get the trades when Zekin is more than ready to return fire. The clone helps him out, get out of that situation. Oh my god, they're just taking the fights. Are we going to find it?
Yeah, it basically happened again, right? And this time it does make more sense why they, you know, kind of go for it maybe a bit earlier, because you got this drone, right? This wasn't here on the pistol round. So it makes sense why they kind of have to feel like they do this now. But Xander manages to get the first kill on Zelsis going down long. And now they're ready to kind of run this, right? So Asuna goes for the stuns, away he goes. Now, some of the others are suppressed, so it makes sense this time why maybe there isn't the full util there, right? This time we actually do throw a Fade Horn out. Xander gets another kill. Okay, now we're in a 4v2, right? So it's a 4v2 again, right? And Xander is, again, at this point, he could just leave. He decides to take a 1v1. They're not on the same page. The other players aren't quite there yet, ready enough to trade. So that doesn't quite work for them. Again, we're on different pages, and we end up dying there, right? And again, we're just trying to bite off more than we can chew. And even though, again, we had a perfect read, right? Like, we got pretty much exactly what we wanted. We found the first kill. We were in a good spot. We were in a 4v2. It doesn't matter, right? And even though Boostio, you know, does manage to get it back to a 1v1, was there really much doubt as to how this was going to end? No. But if you thought we were done, you are gravely mistaken, because let's take a look here at the very next round, round number 11. So this is 3 rounds in a row where this was happening for 100 Thieves, because again, just take a look. They end up in a really good position here overall, right? They figure out that Sentinels are in mid, and after a bit of skirmishing back and forth with some util here, so, you know, you got the drone and all that, you got Zekin getting very aggressive here past the wall. You know, he's in a lot of trouble. He TPs out, but they get him out. Okay, that's perfectly fine. And now they're going to go for this quadruple stack up here in towards Art, and instead they're going to swing it. Now, again, I would take a look at this and be like, you know, you look at the map there. Again, it's going to work out for him. Asuna finds a perfect timing here to kill Narrate as he's turning his back. However, if Narrate was facing this way just for a second longer and Asuna dies here, these guys aren't in position to trade him, right? He has gone out on his own a bit too early, which, you know, this time they get away with it and they get rewarded for it, in fact. But, you know, he was maybe just a little bit early there. We don't know if maybe a trade would have come in had been the other way around. But now, you know, they TP back. They're going to get the stall here from Cryo, stopping them on the site. Again, we end up in a good position, right? So we're flooding back in now. We're on the right side of the map. We got Cryo back here. We got the first kill. Like, again, you would say 100 Thieves, to start this round, have done a good job. Let's take a look at what happens, though.
The reaction time there of Cryo understanding it's not going to be the right target. EU, everybody trying to dodge the ultimate, the overdrive from Austin. He slides in, he goes down immediately, though. Great reactions by Sentinels as they turn around and they start to wipe out 100 Thieves.
Know where Boostio's at. He just got the kill into Zelsis, moving towards the back site.
I mean, this one is just ludicrous. It is just honestly insane. Right, and as I said, like, talked about at the start of the video, being kind of nervous energy, not really knowing what to do because they find a spam kill just there. Okay, Cryo's going to die on the backside. That happens. We're still in a 4v3 with an Astral for a retake. Right, we're still in a very good spot. And Asuna just decides to just send it. No util, no support, nothing. I mean, they've put up an Astral wall, but at this point, you know that the Astral wall probably isn't doing that much because they haven't even planted the spike yet. And just goes in there, and now Bang's just going to clean up. I mean, what? I don't understand. I guess what, his Neon ult is running out, and so he's like, oh, gotta make the most of it, despite the fact he has a rifle, right? So He doesn't have to. Like, you can just chill. You could just play a 4v3 with an Astaroth retake, knowing that, you know, that's not going to be a great situation for them. You could do that. You could be patient. You could have any patience in the world, but you don't. And you end up losing another round. And this is what I mean, right? That I've just shown you there 5 rounds. And honestly, there's more. And throughout this entire game, there's a lot more, right? This is just in one half. There is a lot more of these rounds throughout the entire series of, like, rounds where 100 Thieves are in a really good position. And they just lose, right? And, like, that's 5 rounds in this half where they were in favorable to very favorable positions and managed to lose them all.